Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast.
Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Thursday, October 24th. This is episode 145, and we have the full cast of characters today on a Thursday. Don Harris,
what's up?
Miketinac, Matt Roy, here on a very special Spurs opening day edition of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm great. Basketball season is here.
Yeah, for the Spurs.
For you too, my friend.
Happy birthday, Matt Roy.
Hey, thanks. Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Big 4-7 today. No, I'm just kidding.
I have warts older than that.
29 today, but let's
29, 6'8", 245.
and if anyone has watched 245 would be great. If anyone's watching New Girl, you see 29?
265?
Like 265, yeah. Something like that.
Do you find the irony that you're 29 on a game tonight that we have that's from 29 6A?
No, I didn't see the irony in that, but now I do.
Okay.
For some
It's all
reason,
connected.
For some reason I don't hear Chuck's mic here, but
I don't
there
hear. I don't hear anything.
I hear us, but I don't hear Chuck for some reason. But we'll get that.
I could take these off because I'm not hearing anything.
We might have to get might have you guys share a mic here because I don't see any levels from Chuck's. But anyway,
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're good. Anyway, yeah, we have a big day today on the Spurs front. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to follow the News 4 and Fox SA YouTube channels. If you're so inclined, follow the go to your nearest podcast app, download, rate, review, subscribe. Give us all that good stuff. We got a lot of Spurs stuff to go over. Will they go over under their season win total? We got will they make the playoffs? Will Wemby win the Defensive Player of the Year? He is the prohibitive favorite to do that. Talk all that. Plus, we have a High School Hype Squad with TNL tonight. TNL Top 10. We'll go over that. Plus Canyon versus Judson. So that'll all be fun. But first, I want to get into trivia. Trivia first, obviously. That's where we always start. In the Pop era, what is the Spurs record in season openers? First game of the season, 26 of them. This will be 27 tonight. What is the Spurs record in season openers? So that'll be the question. You guys want to answer now, or you want to answer after we talk Spurs?
Whatever you say. I'll say now.
All right, now let's go with now.
I'm going to go with 8. I'm going to go with he wins 75% of his games, so why would it be any different? Let's say about 18 and 8.
Chuck?
I'll say 16 and 10. Oh, we only have one mic that
Yeah,
works?
I don't think that other one's working. Actually, try that other
I'll
one.
use it to clean my ears then.
Getting very minimal levels
Yes.
on that one. So anyway, yeah. What are you going with?
16 and 10.
23 and 3.
No kidding.
Wow.
23 and 3 in season openers. It's kind of wild.
That is wild.
You wouldn't think that. I mean, obviously they had all those years of winning, but even in the last couple of years, they don't really lose their season openers. Last year, I think they lost by 7 to
Tie game with 2 minutes to go.
yeah, they lost by 7 to the Mavs. But besides that, I mean, they really don't lose their season openers very often. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. They're 8-point dogs to the Mavericks. But anyway, let's get to.
Hey, shout out Bob Gambert with new haircut.
Does he have a new haircut?
I did. I got a haircut yesterday.
Yeah, that's you look very tidy, nice and clean.
Heidi.
Shout out to Luis, who never has a hair out of place.
I'm going to Cleveland tomorrow, so I had to look good.
You gonna go to the
No,
game?
dude, really, seriously. I mean, honestly.
Weren't you gonna go to the game this weekend?
I was going to, but I gave my ticket to my nephew because I wanted him to be able to sit with his dad and everything. I'm just going to hang out at a sports bar. We're all going downtown to pregame and everything. But I don't like going to games that much.
If
so
they
I'd
were
rather be at a sports bar.
If they were 5-1, would you have given your ticket away?
Yeah, I hate being at live sporting events.
Okay,
They're much better on TV.
get there early.
Agree.
I have a stadium experience. You do not want to encounter that crowd, and the construction around the ballpark is a legit concern.
It is. You're right.
So have fun with that, my friend.
Like I said,
Go to the bar.
I'm going to the bar, so I'm going to be fine.
Try that mic one more time, Chuck. Give me a.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, there you go. I think
Okay.
you're in there now. I'm just gonna turn your levels up a little bit. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about some Spurs here. Do you wait? Hold on. Actually, one more Browns question. Do you like that Jameis is starting, or do you think that it's an upgrade?
Have they made it official
Yeah,
that he's?
yeah.
Because I wouldn't. I would have put DTR in for the rest of the year. Because I don't want to win any more games. And also I want to get a real good look at how good DTR actually is.
All right, well, fair enough. Let's get to the Spurs here. So, season opener tonight against the Mavs in Dallas. Let's talk season holistically first before we get into the game specifically this evening. So, the over-under for the Spurs win total is 35.5. Don, I want you to finish this sentence for me. The Spurs will win more than 36 games this season if what?
If
Or because why?
If or because. Okay. The Spurs win 35 games or more because they won 7 out of their 12 final games last year. They beat a Denver team that had to win for playoff seeding and was one of the best teams in the West. They got better as the year went on. They got over their 18-game losing streak while experimenting with Jeremy Sohan at point guard. So the team that ended the season is close to being a 500 team. The team that ended the season was well over 500. They add Chris Paul and Steph Castle and Harrison Barnes. They get out of the gate winning 7 out of their 12. Like they're going to be, in my mind, a 500 team. So I think they're 41-41 or 42-40, and I think they win because they're not doing all the stupid stuff they did to start the season last year, and because Wemby's going to be better.
Okay. Chuck, you answer me the inverse question. The Spurs win less than 36 games this season because why?
They don't shorten up their rotations. They don't extend minutes for their best players, and they load manage this thing into oblivion.
On purpose to get Cooper Light.
Well,
Flag.
I mean,
Flag.
if that's
Cooper
going to be
Love.
the case, tell me now, and I'll spend even less time watching them. Because, I mean, again, to me, this has to be about there should be an expectation. There should be an expectation to win more games than 35. There should be an expectation to make the playoffs. If there isn't that expectation, tell me now, and I won't invest any energy.
There is, and they will.
Yeah,
I don't know that they make the playoffs, but they're in the play-in. They're right there.
So do you think right now, I think you said 41-40, 42-40. Chuck, do you think that it's going to be that kind of season where they middle around 500? Do you think it's an over or an under year?
I hope so. I hope it's right around where it takes to get into the postseason. What that looks like, I don't care. But to me, I want to see a huge leap this year and not another 20-something win season.
And this is all contingent on Wemby's health. Like, they can survive Devin Vassell being hurt. They can survive Chris Paul being old and getting hurt. I think they can survive all of those things. But if Wemby gets hurt and misses any extended period of time, like DeJounte Murray's got a broken hand or Kawhi Leonard's,
unfortunate for him last night.
Kawhi Leonard's not going to play the first 2 months of the season.
100 games.
Whatever. If Wemby's healthy, this is what it's contingent on.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at their roster right now is considerably better, in my opinion, than it was last year at this time. And they finished, to your point, they finished the season so strong last year. Now you add CP3, Harrison Barnes, you add Stephon Castle, who played lights out in the preseason. I was extremely impressed with Stephon Castle. It's kind of like Pop always says, they need to make me play them. I think that he earned that playing time.
I'm so high on this kid. Chuck's getting so tired of me talking about him.
No, I'm not.
I'm so high on this kid. I think he's going to be an all-star by year 3. I think he's talent level like Shea and like Ja.
You actually tweeted last night, there was a layup, I think, by Ja or something like that, and you quote tweeted it and said that's Stephon Castle in a couple years.
I think he is. I think he's.
Why?
Because he's so strong going to the basket. He loves contact. He shoots a ton of free throws. He plays at his own pace. He doesn't try to speed it up. He's got that herky-jerky thing that throws defenders off. He's a great defender. He's not a terribly great three-point shooter or shooter from long range, but he was better in the preseason than people thought he was going to be. And he just plays mature. He sees the floor. He always makes the right play. Always makes the right pass, always makes the right play, and is gutty on defense. I love him. I absolutely think he's better to me already than Kawhi was at the same spot. Preseason, there wasn't really a preseason because of the lockout when Kawhi came up. But when you saw, you got to remember, Kawhi averaged like 4 points a game, 7 points a game his rookie year. This kid's going to be special.
How
I
much
won't
better?
go that far with the shooting part. I mean, John Morant's an elite level shooter.
No, he's not going to be a Josh shooter. No, I don't think he's.
I mean, I like him too. I mean, and I think he's earned the right to play and play a lot, and quite frankly, start and play 48 minutes a game.
How much better on defense can this team be than last year? Obviously, they sucked at defense.
Excuse me.
I'm about to lose Don here. They sucked on defense last year through about 50, 60 games until they really started turning up the intensity on the back end. So how much better do you guys think that they can be defensively? Because to me, it looks that's like really the key there. They can score with the best of them, and they showed that last year. They need to shoot better, and they need to play better defense.
Here's why I think they're going to be better defensively. There's so much competition for minutes with this group. You talk about Blake, Keldon, Devin, Mamu, Castle, Branham. These guys all want to play. And Keldon left in the offseason with a homework assignment. You've got to become a better defender. So he lost all this weight. He's working on it. He's already come into camp that way. Castle's immediately a better defender. Blake Wesley's taken this assignment from Pop to come in and concentrate on that particular skill. And so in the preseason, you had Blake, Castle, Keldon guarding their tails off, and they were talking about how, yeah, that was what we were told that we needed to improve on. So I think if you want to get on the floor, I think Blake Wesley has a chance of playing a lot of minutes because he's just doing that one thing.
Last year, you also saw Pop a lot of the times leave them out there to learn on the court and not really punish them or if there's a lapse defensively or make the wrong pass or do something bad on the court. You kind of saw him let them figure it out. Do you think that changes now too, Don, with how he kind of holds them accountable and coaches this team?
I do. I think it's going to be a shorter leash. You're not getting it done, the next guy's up because they got guys that those guys know who deserves to play because they're playing behind closed doors at practice. They know, like Branham knows that Castle's playing better than him and is better than him and should be playing more minutes than him. Those guys on the team know. So you can't fake it. If you're Pop, you can't be like, oh, I have a long leash on Keldon because he's Keldon. No. If Keldon's not getting the job done, he's out. I think he'll do that.
Speaking of,
I think so too. I mean, I hope he does that
Yeah.
for sure.
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Keldon, I mean, I know he's been working out with Bebe. Tell me a little bit about that, just because I know that he has kind of transformed his body, as Don said, and he's been working out with someone that you know well in Bebe.
I just think he took it upon himself and basically went outside the family. It's like, I got to do this for me. You know, I don't know that necessarily there was a lot of impetus, you know, to really push Keldon in this direction that was coming from the outside. I think Keldon did this internally, that he was going to take it upon himself to go to boot camp essentially and get his body in a certain place. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see if it ends up paying huge dividends for him. I mean, I certainly respect the fact that he went and did all this pretty much on his own.
Absolutely. Bob, you got anything before we
Yeah, we got
continue on?
a regular watcher in the comments, Robert Smith. He's almost always watching.
Thanks, Robert.
Shout out Robert Smith.
Yes, sir.
Couple things from him. He on the 40 win kind of thing where he's at. He said, "I'm at 48 wins. They won't get the 38 wins because they won't get the 40 because of Memphis and Houston getting better." And then he also, you were talking about Branham for a second there. He said Branning's outside shooting has got to drastically improve.
Yeah.
They have to drastically improve their outside shooting as a team. Like they were bad. They shot a lot of threes, and I think they made the season or the franchise highest amount in threes, but they were 16th in the league. Like they need to drastically improve the percentage that they shoot from behind the 3-point line.
Yeah, he's got a great point there that the West is so good. I mean, I was looking at the roster of the Pelicans because of DeJounte got hurt last night. So I look. I mean, they've got.
I forgot what that trade was.
I mean, they've got Ingram and Zion when healthy, and Herb Jones can really guard.
They re-signed Trey Murphy right now.
Trey Murphy. They're really good. I mean, New Orleans, Houston, Memphis. They're at the bottom level of those with Lakers, Clippers, Oklahoma City at the top with Minnesota. And, I mean, there's so many good teams in the West.
Yeah, and I think, too, what goes up must come down, right? Some of these older veteran teams are going to start heading south. It's just a matter of time.
Lakers, Clippers, Warriors.
Clippers, Suns.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the Suns, I think, look a little bit better last night, especially because now they have Tyus Jones, an actual point guard that can actually help get these guys the ball and not just rely on Devin. And
I'm never betting against Kevin Durant. I mean, even
Fair
in the
enough.
Olympics.
Fair enough. The Inuit Dome by the Clippers, though, is pretty awesome.
I didn't see much of it. Is it cool?
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So who starts tonight? A lot's being made of the starters. Who's going to start for this team? I mean, obviously, no Devin right now. Devin's going to start when he gets back healthy. But right now, who starts tonight? First game of the league year.
Okay. I don't know, but Pop says he's still working on it. He has not started Castle yet. If I was Pop, I'd start Paul at the 1, Castle at the 2. I think he'll probably start Jeremy, Wemby, and Champagny.
So Harrison, Jeremy,
No Harrison.
no Harrison.
No,
You think Harrison comes off the bench here?
I don't know. Wemby and Chris, Sohan, Champagny, and then fill in the blank. Devin or Castle or Keldon.
Okay. What about you?
I'm going to go with just who played the most minutes during the preseason to see if that pays dividends. So you got Chris Paul, Sohan, Barnes. Keldon was also up there, but I don't think he starts. And then Castle and Wemby. That's what I'll go.
I think Castle starts for now, but then when Devin comes back, he might replace him.
Yeah.
But I think the most interesting lineup for this entire team is Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Devin at the 3, Harrison at the 4, and Wemby at the 5.
And Sohan off the bench.
Yeah, and Sohan off the bench. Because I think that's where the energy comes and then you put Keldon in, you need Jeremy in for the energy guys, the guys who can come in defensively, make those plays.
You have
off
to
the
have
bench.
3-point shooting on the floor.
Harrison
does that,
is
but
the best 3-point shooter on the team, probably.
No, Champagny. Champagny.
I mean, Champagne's good too, but I don't think he's not going to start.
No,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I
Really?
don't either.
He started a lot last year.
Yeah, but I mean,
They didn't have Barnes last
they
year.
didn't have Barnes, Castle, or Wemby, or
And I would go
CP3
with the
left.
most athletic 4 I could put around Wemby as I could humanly do, which would mean I would start Trey Jones over Chris Paul. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
How about Castle at the 1, Devin at the 2,
I like the way you spitball sometimes, DH.
yeah, Paul off the bench.
I mean, to start the season, he's definitely starting. But
Of
by
course.
mid-season, I could see that happening to where Chris Paul maybe is the floor general for the second unit, kind of a la Kyle Lowry last year for the Heat
Can
or
you imagine
the Sixers.
Can you imagine the drama that would cause if Pop benched Chris Paul?
I don't know if he's
I don't
really
know if it'd be
necessarily
drama.
benching him though.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to play minutes. And, you
Yeah.
know, again, would it be drama? I don't know that.
Maybe not.
You know?
Maybe Chris Paul's matured to the point that he knows he's really done a great job of mentoring this kid, and he talks so highly of Castle.
So let me ask you this, Don. Last year we heard a lot of we're trying to win, and it was all lip service. They weren't specifically trying to win last year. It was an experimentation year. It was a development year. This year we've heard win. It's all about the wins. We've heard about accountability. We've heard about all those things. What makes this year different than last year?
The additions of Paul, Castle, and Wemby's improvement in the offseason. Just go back to the Olympic gold medal game. He was leading scorer in that game, playing against like 5 Hall of Famers, and the torch had like kind of been passed. There are high expectations for Wemby, and he sets them. So I think it's not lip service this time. I think that started off in the preseason and in training camp last year. And then once they went through that 18-game losing streak, I think reality hit them in the face, especially when they were trying Sohan at the point. No, that's all in the past. These guys can't all training camp. I mean, all summer long, these guys were in the gym, and the expectations were to get better. I mean, Wemby before the Olympics and after the Olympics was right back in the gym, and he's setting the tone for everybody. And Paul's been great from what I hear too.
There was a story on ESPN where it was like a week after the season or a couple days after the season ended last year that Wemby was right back in the gym, and for the 2 months leading up to the Olympics, he put on the 25 pounds. That's when he really did it.
Yeah.
And the last couple months, he took a vacation and then has just been trying to maintain that weight and flexibility as he comes into this season. You look at the ESPN projections, and they're expecting him to score 25 a game and average 12 rebounds. And I think their statistical for blocks, I think they're putting him at like 4.3 blocks a game. I don't know if that's what the second leap is going to look like for him, but I am expecting a huge year from Victor. And if Victor has a huge year and is healthy, then the Spurs are going to be a 40 to 42 win team.
I think so. I think the minutes is what I'm interested to see how many minutes he plays.
Well, they kind of played with him with kid gloves last year too. Whenever he would tweak an ankle, he'd be out for 3 nights. I mean, and he tweaked his ankle four times maybe last year, maybe
He
3.
He played 25 minutes a game, right, for
Yeah,
most of the year.
Yeah, they had him on a minutes restriction for a while. I don't
Yeah.
think that he has that at the beginning of this
Don't
season.
say minute restrictions.
That's not what we say.
That's not what we say.
Load management.
We don't say.
No.
I don't know. We can probably say that because we
Pushing-
were told we didn't necessarily. We could maybe say that. Pitch count.
What are we supposed? Why can't we say it?
Wemby said we don't use that term.
Yeah.
Minute restriction.
Yes.
They did last year.
I was going to say they restricted his minutes. What do they want us to say?
This guy has a team around him. He was asked the other day about the lawsuit about the guy who was selling merchandise without being, and he said, I don't know about that. He has a team of handlers from the legal side, from the marketing side, from the physio side. I mean, the Spurs hired his guy. His routine is amazing, and everybody's in awe of. This guy goes to bed at 9:30 after he reads books.
Yeah, he got woken up right in the middle of his sleep last night.
Yeah, I heard that.
If just in case anyone missed it,
Fire
a
alarm.
Dallas hotel at 11:50-ish in the morning, the fire alarm got pulled at their hotel. So Wemby was in sleepy land, and then he was rudely
It's happened
awakened.
before in Dallas. They poisoned Tony Parker's creme brulee
What?
the night before. What, Game 7, I think, or
I've never heard that story.
yeah.
For people out there who vote, I put a poll up last night on my Twitter account that asking everybody, what do you think is the over/under win total? Would you go over or under? 74% of people who voted in my poll think over 35.5 wins. So a little bit of Poor Vita fan out there.
I said 40 last year. They won 22. So what do I know?
Well, and I think I went even over what you did. So yeah, I mean, I'm not very good at the guessing game, but better not be 22 again this year.
And Vegas is always pretty close.
I mean, 35.5, 36.5 is the over/under. So as far as tonight, they win tonight?
No.
They lose to the Mavs?
Yeah.
I think they win tonight.
I think they win tonight too. I think that 23-3 is pretty hard to argue with in season openers. Plus, Luka always starts slow.
Okay.
I think he's still drinking a few too many beers as he gets ready for the season.
This is the defending Western Conference champs on national TV.
because they got super hot at the end of last season.
On
I don't think
TNT.
anybody, if we went back to last year, thinks that Dallas was the best team in the West last
They
year.
don't impress me that much. I mean, why not?
All right, well,
They're 8-point favorites. Vegas is rarely that far off.
I don't know. Rockets were 8-point favorites last night.
Hey, I was listening to a competing podcast yesterday,
Rude.
and they're one of their crazy predictions. They're making crazy predictions. Is that Wemby will get a 50-point game this year? What do you think the odds of Wemby?
I can see that.
What's his career high so far?
I don't know, 38, 33.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
possible. I think he gets a couple of quadruple doubles.
That's a quadruple double is tough.
I don't know. I
He'll
mean, that's,
definitely get a couple
that's where
triple
he
doubles.
has to make a leap too, is learning how to play well with others and make others better around him
Yeah,
too.
his assist
so if
numbers
he
are
does, he probably does have a quadruple double.
I mean, I think he's the next person to get a quadruple double. I just don't know if he'll get it this year. I mean,
Points,
he'll definitely
rebounds,
have a couple
assists,
and blocks.
and blocks.
He'll definitely have a couple of games where
you gotta
the
think
block
that-
numbers are crazy and he has 10,
Right.
12
So
blocks in a game.
You
but-
could think right off the bat that three of those stats are a given, right? That you think you could get 10 in a game, right?
Yeah.
And the other two
Steals.
are, right?
Yeah, he could do steals.
Yeah, that's right.
What about what would that be? quintuple.
Yes.
He wouldn't do that, but he might get that instead of
A
assists.
quintuple double.
All right, guys. Well,
Quintuple.
looking forward to the Spurs season
Quintuple.
for sure. You guys think he wins defensive player this year?
He's the odds-on favorite. I think so.
Yeah, he's like minus 150.
He should probably won it last year.
He definitely should have won it last year. All right, let's get to the high school hype squad for this week. Let's get right to the TNL top 10 before we get into our TNL matchup. Piper is number one. They're 7-0, 4-0 in district. They are also Nick Rogers, the coach of the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game this year, so looking forward to that. We had the big announcement this past week. We had media day this past week. It's always great. I know it's kind of a marathon of interviews, but it's always great getting to know the players, and then especially up at Piper, they have some heavy hitters in Caden Keith and Isaiah Champagne.
He's building a state power in a brand new school. It's pretty fun to watch.
It is, absolutely. I mean, they're the 7th ranked team in the state right now at 5-1 or 5A D1. So they are really good. They're playing who are they playing? They're playing MacArthur on Saturday, so they should probably get to 8-0. They won't lose a game until they get to the playoffs, probably. So they've already played their toughest game. Smithson Valley's already behind them. So Alamo Heights is number 2 in our TNL top 10 poll. They are 8-0, 4-0 in district. They beat Vet Memorial 37-26 last year. They need to win, or last week, excuse me. They need to win to clinch at least a share of the district title this week. They are playing McCollum, so I expect them to probably do that. They have not lost a district game in over 4 years. So when
They're in a tougher district now, but
tougher district,
they
is
had a
still
cakewalk for a few years.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing nothing against Burbank and Brack and Highlands and Edison, but they're not on Alamo Heights level. Steele is 6-1. They're number 3 in our TNL top 10 poll. They're 3-0 in district. They defeated Judson 56-3 2 weeks ago, which was one of the biggest, most lopsided matchups in the history of those two programs. The Knights resume play this week after an open date, ready to make a charge for their 5th district championship. They're playing San Marcos, who is 0-9, so expect them to continue and win that game as well.
The story there, though, is interesting.
Isn't San Marcos still sanctioned?
Yes. So they can't play. They can't play varsity, right? These kids, these quote unquote alleged recruits, that are all playing JV football because they're ineligible to play varsity. But from what I understand, the JV is winning 77-0 every week. Like San Marcos's best players, if they could play varsity, they'd be battling for that district championship. They're that good.
I think they can next year. Right?
Yes, all those kids are going to show up and play as seniors at some point.
That game happens Friday night, 7:30 at Lenhoff. Southwest is 7-0, 5-0 in district. They beat Southwest Legacy in the Fire and Armor Bowl 41-13. They are 7-0 for the first time since 2009. So pretty good season down there for Coach Franco in Southwest. They're now 4-3 in the Fire and Armor Bowl. They have a whale of a game in 2 weeks. So next week when we're doing TNL Top 10, we'll be talking about a Southwest John Jay matchup. And
Looking forward to that.
that's gonna be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Brennan is number 5 in our TNL Top 10 poll. They're 6-1, 5-0 in district. I tweeted this out. They might be the hottest team in Texas. Like ever since they lost to Reagan, they have just been crushing people. 72-7 this week over Holmes. They've scored 244 points in their 5 district games. They are just crushing people, and it's relentless too. Next game they play is Friday night, 7:30 at Gus against Stevens. John Jay, the aforementioned John Jay Mustangs, are number 6. They're 7-0, 5-0 in district. They beat Laredo Nixon 44-7. They play a 1-win Laredo Martin team, 7 p.m. on Friday at Gus before the looming showdown against Southwest.
They lose Jackson Gutierrez and still go 7-0. Very impressive.
Absolutely. It looks
Program
like
built for success.
Yep, their offense is finally catching up to their defense this year too. So look out.
Absolutely. Their defense, they were winning games like 9-3, and now they're winning 44-7. So their defense is lights out. Smithson Valley, 5-2, 3-1 in district. They beat Wagner pretty good, 47-7 last week. They put the clamps on the explosive Wagner offense, holding them to 179 total yards. Holding Seguin to 179 yards the week before, Wagner to 139 yards last night. So or last week. They play New Braunfels 7 p.m. on Friday at New Braunfels. Harlan is 6-1. They are 8th in our TNL Top 10 poll. They defeated Stevens 49-14 last week. 8 players were credited with a rush. 6 players credited with a catch in that one. They have weapons all over the place. It's not just Peyton Matthews. So Harlan's a damn good team. Once again. Sotomayor, I want to talk about Soto here for a second. They're making the playoffs for the first time in program history. 3rd year varsity, already making the playoffs. What can you guys say about Juan Morales' squad?
He does it, not surprised. He does it everywhere he goes.
Yeah, no question. And then, again, what a statement win over Taft, right? I mean, we saw how good Taft was with their own 2 eyes, and they took it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Juan Morales is one of my favorite people.
Yep,
he's just such a nice guy, and he's a hell of a football coach too.
Sure.
So,
Yes,
6-2 in their 3rd year, 5-1 in district. They've won 5 straight games since opening against Brennan. In 2 weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks to close the season. 2 weeks to close the season. They play Harlan to close their year out. So that'll be a really good matchup, especially. And then they get a bye before the playoffs, so that'll help them out a lot. And then Johnson, after losing their opening game, 6-0 since then, 4-0 in district. Beat Reagan 2 weeks ago in the Stone Oak Super Bowl. Beat Madison.
Stone Oak Super Bowl.
What, you guys never heard that?
Never heard that either.
That's good. Nice.
They beat Reagan a couple weeks ago in the Stone Oak Super Bowl. They beat Madison this past week. Lauren Bubba Johnson is a really, really cool kid.
Yeah.
I was talking to him did one of his interviews at Media Day, and he's going to be really fun to watch, especially in the All-Star game too.
The fact that we knew they would have a good team this year, but the fact that they were able to put this season together like they have with
After
their
losing Ty.
star quarterback
leaving.
I mean, hats off to everybody over there at Johnson.
Yeah, I mean they should win this week. They play Lee Saturday at 2 p.m. over at Comalander. So let's get to our TNL matchup of the week real quick. New Braunfels Canyon versus Judson. On paper, you would think, or just by name value, you'd think Judson's going to win this game, but Judson has had some of the worst luck ever this year. They've lost most of their games by 1 score. New Braunfels Canyon, on the other hand, has a new head coach in Sean McAuliffe, who has a lot of ties to Judson. Chuck, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, he was a player at Judson, coached there obviously, left for a couple of years, went out of the city, but he's back, glad to be back. Most of his wife's family is from the Bernie area, so I think that played a part in him wanting to come back. But
yeah, he went to Cyprus, right?
Should be fun though tonight, because the fact that it is homecoming for Judson, and the fact that there are guys on the staff on Sean's staff that also went to Judson with him, and the fact that he and Coach Soto were at least on the same football field back in high school too. One was a sophomore and one was a senior. So
there you go.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah, a lot of Judson ties. So
Yeah.
Chuck, when you're looking at keys to the game, I know I heard you talking to Sean a little. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it was. What are his keys to victory here tonight?
I think, for Canyon, it's be able to stop the explosive plays, right? Judson's always got guys that can hit home runs every time they touch the ball. And, just talking to Coach Soto, too, over at Judson, he just wants his guys to stop shooting themselves in the foot. You touched on it. I mean, 4 of their 5 losses in those 4 games, they lost in the closing minutes of those games. So you look at 2-5, and Coach Soto said, are we the best 2-5 team in the state? My kids believe it, so I think he believes it too. So I think we're in for a good one tonight.
Yep.
Any addition there, John?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Canyon's offense. Their running back and their offensive line's really, really big, and their running back putting up huge numbers. So Judson's got their hands full trying to stop that ground game.
Let's hear from Coach Sean McAuliffe here real quick before we get out of here.
You're coming in, you're instilling an entirely new program and stuff like this. Sometimes it takes a year or two. Why has this team done so well so quickly under your new system?
I think it's a combination of things. First of all, we got great senior leadership. These kids have been through, unfortunately, some multiple coaches changes, and they've handled it all in stride. I think we've got a great community that backs these kids. We get great crowds every night that we get to play here at home and on the road. So there's a big-time support for extracurriculars in general, and then I think it also has a lot to do with the culture of our campus. I think you combined all those things, and a staff that I was able to put together, 2 of them, Aaron Carter and Chad Way, were on my staff at Judson. at a different time, and you know, you put all those factors in the mix, you know, and a little bit of luck, we're at where we're at, and you know, I couldn't be happier.
Have you thought about maybe what the emotions are going to be this week when you go back there, or is it just like, you know what, it's another faceless opponent, it's just another game on the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that place will always be special just because of I grew up there, I played there, played for one of the best in the business, Coach Rutledge. And you know, being able to coach there was a special time in my career. But in all honesty, we're looking forward to driving down 35 and teeing it up and hopefully trying to get another win. And all bets will be off at 7:30. I'm not going to take a trip down memory lane. I'll be trying to figure out how to get these kids to tackle some really, really fast athletic kids, and then hopefully offensively that we move the ball consistently enough, and you know, get this thing hopefully into a 4-quarter game where we got a chance in the end.
Coach McAuliffe seems like a really nice guy. I haven't met him yet, so I'm looking forward to meeting him tonight at TNL. So
He had some good Judson teams, man.
didn't they go to back-to-back state semifinals when he was there?
Yeah.
You got three of his former players in the league right now.
Who?
Sincere
Which
McCormick.
ones? Sincere?
Rashad Wisdom.
Oh, there you go.
Big dude.
Trey Flowers and
Leal.
Big Marv.
There you go. All right. Well, that's going to be a really fun matchup tonight. Looking forward to TNL as we always are. Remember to tune in tonight, CW35 or CWSA.
Yeah.
Now that we've rebranded, CWSA tonight at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
So don't watch the Spurs. You don't need to watch the Spurs. You can
Spurs?
Watch you can watch us instead.
Yeah, I'll watch the first quarter and then flip over.
Anyway, that's all we got for you tonight on the Sneakers Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We'll be right back here on Monday. More Spurs coverage. And real quick on the way out, guys, Cowboys win this weekend against the Niners or no?
Yes.
No.
No. All right. I don't think so either, but we'll see. See you right back here on Monday, everybody.